is still on the board, Dante Culpepper. Now let's head to Ed Werder.
Here in New Orleans, Mike Ditka's talking about putting his hair in dreadlocks. He pulls off a huge trade, moves up to the 5th spot from the Redskins, and gets Ricky Williams, the Heisman Trophy winner. He says this is going to be a great match. We're going to give him the football. He's going to give us an identity. Let's go to Solomon Wilcott.
In Foxborough, after losing their featured running back for the 2nd straight year, the Patriots now find themselves back in the hunt for a primetime runner. With Ricky Williams and Edgerrin James off the board, the Patriots Brain Trust are now looking to fulfill their need for speed with 2 picks coming up later in the 1st round. Now let's send it out to Hank Goldberg.
In Miami, the Dolphins tried to trade up to get Edgerrin James, but holding only 5 picks in the draft, as Jimmy Johnson said, he was handcuffed. Why is Jimmy looking so glum? Normally at this time the phone's ringing off the hook for him, but no callers. Who wants to go to 24? The Dolphins might trade out of 24, figuring 3 or 4 backs they would be interested in would be there early in the 2nd round, and Cecil Collins could be one of them. Let's go to Tom Jackson in Denver.
Hank, here in Denver, the Broncos have 11 choices in the draft this year, which will allow them to move in any way Mike Shanahan wants. Certainly, if you look at the volume of picks, the Cleveland Browns have 4 of the first 62 picks in the draft. The Denver Broncos have 4 of the first 67. So whatever Mike Shanahan decides to do, the Denver Broncos will be a better, deeper football team. That's good news for the rest of the league. Let's go back to New York.
You know, I feel good now. I finally saw Tom Jackson. It took an hour and a half. It's good to see Tommy. Now let's see what the Cardinals do with their first of 2 first-round picks.
With the 8th pick in this draft, the Arizona Cardinals select David Boston, wide receiver, Ohio State.
I had a feeling it was either John Tate, the local product from Mesa, you know, a suburb of Phoenix, or they can go later on in the 1st round where there's going to be more value at tackle, Mel, whereas Boston, if you want to look for one of the premier wide receivers, they would not get him later in the 1st round.
Very physical player, Chris. You're right. Here against Charles Woodson. This was back in 1997. Here again against Charles Woodson. Beats him on the deep route. Watch the concentration here on the football. And you're looking at a big wide receiver, a very physical performer who certainly can shield that cornerback and then make something happen after the catch in the broken field. A little taunting there. Put that to rest in the NFL. Here, downfield blocking against Penn State. Here again, you'll see the physical presence of a big receiver with deep speed and good hands. If there's a question with David Boston, it's route running, precision there, also in terms of concentration. Not hands, but he needs to concentrate on every pass that comes his way. Probably could have used another year at Ohio State to round off his game a bit, but in terms of a physical presence at wide receiver, he really provides that for an Arizona Cardinal team that needs that 3rd wide receiver behind Sanders and certainly behind Rob Moore. Although they still need, in my opinion, that left tackle to protect Jake Plummer's blind side.
Yeah, but they're going to get him later on in the 1st round, I think.
Well,
I mean,
you won't get a Tate or a Shelton, though.
No, but they know that. But they're going to get better value at tackle, I think, late in the 1st round than they're going to get at wide receiver. And they're all it's now. Ohio State, you still have this image of Woody Hayes 3 yards in a cloud of dust. But look at these guys, Ohio State receivers that we're going to put Boston up against. All he does is catch touchdowns. Chris Carter get better numbers than Krell. Very similar. Joey Galloway, who of course is a star, still in the making in Seattle. And Terry Glenn with the New England Patriots. So these are their numbers. Ohio State and Boston had the best numbers there. How will that, translate into the pros? Well, let's look at the depth chart, Joe, of Arizona, who has Jake Plummer, a guy that can buy time and run around and look for extra time to spot receivers running 2nd and 3rd routes.
Well, the good thing when you get a 3rd wide receiver, which David Boston will be for them, is you don't have to run around an awful lot. Jake Plummer threw a lot of interceptions last year. Frank Sanders is there with 89 receptions. Rob Moore is the franchise player. Ronnie Anderson, Chad Carpenter, and Andy McCullough. Now, you've got some guys who can absolutely move down the field, but Jake Plummer is going to have to become a more disciplined pocket quarterback. Mark Trestman, when he was in San Francisco, was forced into a 3-wide set, their offensive coordinator. That's when San Francisco really started to develop and open up the offense. Under Mark Trestman's guidance, Steve Young had his best career year in his entire National Football League career. Jake Plummer now is going to have an opportunity with 3 wide receivers to be able to move the ball down the field and exploit it. I would look for Arizona to be a much more productive, much more wide-open offense with the addition of David Boston.
Well, with Boston gone, teams like Baltimore at 10 and Pittsburgh at 13, they were hoping that he would fall that far. But to reprise the old David Loggins tune, please come to Boston in the springtime. Staying here with some friends, and we got lots of room. There's room for him in Arizona with Jake Plummer at quarterback throwing to any of those 3 wideouts. Seems like 2 days ago this draft began with the Cleveland Browns drafting Tim Couch. But he's with our Mike Tirico with our other set. Mike, you know what? I guess last night, a little sleepless for Tim. Probably worth the wait.
Yeah, as his deal was being negotiated, finally done at 3:30 in the morning, were they keeping you up to date, a little move by move, or did you just get the wake-up call with the good news?
I just got the wake-up call with the great news. I think Tom let me sleep on it, and you know, I woke up about 9 o'clock this morning, and he gave me the great news.
Well, now that this is a reality, it's something you dream about, being the #1 pick.
Right.
Is the reality as good as the dream?
Oh, it's every bit as good. You know, being up there, hearing your name called, holding up the #1 jersey, shaking the commissioner's hand is truly a great honor, and just hope I can represent the class of '99 well.
A week ago, that second workout when Chris Palmer and the Browns wanted to see a little bit more.
Right.
Compare the pressure of going into that to the pressure of the games that you've played during the year in the big SEC games.
I was really, I was confident about the second workout. You know, I'd put in a lot of hard work. I was prepared for it, and you know, so I was pretty relaxed during the whole workout. I took it like a game, and I'm always relaxed for a game. So I went out and had a strong workout.
There'll be a lot of pressure. People are going to want to know, when are we going to see the #1 pick, the franchise guy of the future? When do you think you'd be ready to play? Talking to Peyton, who's been very close with you in this whole year process.
You know, I'm not real sure. It's just according to how quick I can pick up the offense. You know, I'm going to go in and give my best effort. I want to be in there. I want to be playing. But really, in the end, the decision will come down to Coach Palmer to decide when I'm ready.
Thanks for waiting. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
He's got a plane to catch with his boss, the owner. They're going back to Cleveland, and we're going back to Chris.
Well, I'm going to take the ball. If I'm the secondary toss, I'm going to take it and make a first down, Mike, and I know Tim can complete the pass to me. Well, the Washington Redskins, congratulations once again to Tim Couch. We look forward to him playing in the NFL. So does everybody in the dog pound. But now, thanks to our Sprint video conferencing, let's bring in the general manager of the Washington Redskins, Charlie Casserly, who, Charlie, I mean, are you starring as Monty Hall today in Let's Make a Deal? You went up, down, all around, got some picks, and got your man. Was this all orchestrated, or was this one of the fastest half hours you've ever had?
Well, it was a semi-orchestrated, fast half hour. We had talked to New Orleans for some time about the potential of doing this deal if Ricky Williams was there. This morning, when it appeared that it could happen, we firmed up a deal with New Orleans before the draft ever started. We then called Chicago and a number of other teams up ahead of us, but Chicago was the one we felt we could make a deal with. When we were on the clock, before we made the deal with New Orleans, we had the deal done with Chicago. So, in effect, we knew that we were going to be at 7, get a 1 next year, and get a player that we wanted. As it turned out, it was the same player we were taking at 5.
Charlie, it's Joe. When you draft Champ Bailey, do you now envision him as coming in and being one of your starting corners as a rookie like Darrell Green did for you a number of years ago back when I played?
Well, you know, back when you played, Joe, by the way, you're right. The class of 71 is far better than the class of 83 or 99 or whatever we're in. So don't you take any crap from Kuiper or Boomer. You were right. As far as him starting, okay. As far as him starting, it's you're right. It's going to be the coach's decision on what to do with him. But obviously, when you take a player this high, you envision him playing quickly in your program.
Would you entertain at all, with Champ Bailey's ability to play both sides of the ball, would you entertain at all the fact that he might play some offense this year?
Well, I think, you know, Norv and I have talked about that, and the feeling here is this, is get him in one position, get him good at one position, make him learn one position. You know, one of the things in college, which is an advantage, I think, for him coming into the pros, is he played both positions, but yet he never concentrated on one, so he has a lot of potential to get better at the corner position. So our feeling is put him at corner, keep him at corner, and that's where he's going to play right now.
Charlie, this is Chris again. You and Norv and everybody on the Redskins staff are under a very interesting cloud, if you will say, right now. Can you put into words what you have been going through, what you think you will be going through, and I mean, do you have any feel for, after this year or once new ownership is in place, how long you might stay? And in the meantime, doing deals like this, can you put all this into words?
I'll tell you what, we could do a mini-series on what's happened in the last few weeks, okay? But it's hard, Chris. I think when you look at what we did today, I think what it does, it says a lot for everybody involved. It says John Cook, Norv Turner, all of us. We made a deal where we added a #1 pick to this franchise, and we did what was best for the franchise, and none of us might be here next year. And all through this